Thank everybody for coming out today. We really appreciate you being here. I'm Levi McCatherine. You probably know this is Ben Crump, Reggie. Ben and I are proud to represent him. What this case is about a missing banner down here in this end zone. Reggie's going to talk about it a little more, but there's obviously a glaring hole in this stadium, and there was a great injustice that was done. 2005 season that Reggie Bush had, one of the greatest seasons in NCAA history. He rushed for 1,740 yards, had another 478 receiving yards, and he scored 18 touchdowns. He was a unanimous All-American. He won the Heisman Trophy. While he had all of this success on the field, he, along with a lot of other student athletes at the time, struggled heavily financially off the field. Reggie received a $1,000 stipend that was supposed to cover all of his expenses. His rent was $1,480, split with a roommate that paid $740 of it, and Reggie paid $740. That gave him $260 a month to live on for gas, food, bills, everything else. Meanwhile, the NCAA and the college programs raked in millions and millions and millions of dollars off of the backs of people like Reggie. Reggie also grew up in financial hardship from San Diego, poor family. What should be the American success story and the dream story got marred in this case. This wouldn't happen today. As y'all know, the Supreme Court in the Austin decision made it legal for players to finally be compensated somewhat for their services. I've heard it said that NIL now means now it's legal. But the thing was, what the NCAA was doing was always illegal. They were violating the Sherman Antitrust Act. And that's what the court held. They were always a monopoly. They were always in control, and they were always keeping people like Reggie down. He won the Heisman on this field. He had a banner in that end zone. Why doesn't he have it today? Well, I want to clear up a couple of popular misconceptions first. One misconception is that he was paid by USC to play football. Some schools did that. USC did not, and Reggie never got a dime from USC. A second popular misconception is Reggie was somehow paid by a sponsor, alumni, someone in the school. No one ever paid him. Reggie was never paid for play. Never paid for play. The violations that they found, which were based on shoddy evidence, a sloppy investigation, terrible work by the NCAA, were very marginal violations at best. It's things like loaning money for Reggie to fix his car, allowing Reggie to change clothes before a dope walker ceremony in a hotel room. Very, very minor things. And their investigation was based on the testimony of a man whose testimony is dubious at best. We talk about what we're here, this case we're here for today. When the name, image, and likeness rules changed, obviously Reggie thought, they're going to give me my Heisman back. It's time. And Reggie came out with a statement and said basically just that. He's going to give you a statement about that today. The Heisman Trust said, well, of course Reggie would be welcome back in the Heisman community, but first, the NCAA has to reinstate him. Well, let me say, the Heisman Trust doesn't need to wait on the NCAA. They ought to just today, this afternoon, go ahead and give Reggie his Heisman back. But that's what the Heisman Trust said. The NCAA could have simply remained silent, but the NCAA, through its official spokesman, doubled down and said, we will never give him back his Heisman because he is pay for play. What I just told you, he never did. We're here today for a couple of simple reasons. First, we got to clear the defamation, the slander, the libel that's been placed on Reggie. Reggie's been called a cheater. He's been called many other things. He is not. He's been said he was a pay for play player. He was not. And so there's a lawsuit been filed in Indiana to compensate Reggie and to make those things right. The other hand, we've also filed, and you can go and I'll tell you where on our website to go pull this, a petition for reconsideration has been filed with the NCAA to ask them to reverse the infractions that were levied that would allow Reggie to get his Heisman Trophy back. You'll see when you read it, it's a very detailed, long document. It lays out in depth why the initial investigation was flawed, and lays out why Reggie should now get his Heisman Trophy back. Give back the Heisman to Reggie. Give back USC these 14 wins. But more importantly, we're asking the public here today, and Ben Crump's going to talk about it more, give Reggie Bush his good name back. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Levi. I'm honored to stand with you and representing this fine human being, Reggie Bush. You are so uniquely qualified to help fight this fight, both representing individuals and corporations, and doing some civil rights work with you as well. The district court has told the NCAA they are wrong. The California Appellate Court has told the NCAA they are wrong. The United States Supreme Court has told the NCAA they are wrong on these type matters. And the Court of Public Opinion has told the NCAA they are wrong. How many more courts have to tell the NCAA that they are wrong before they finally restore Reggie Bush with his collegiate titles and records and his Heisman Trophy? How many more courts? How much longer? How many more years before the NCAA finally admits we're on the wrong side of history, we're on the wrong side of fairness, and we're on the wrong side of justice? How long? How long? Washington Post columnist Sally Jenkins once wrote that Reggie Bush might have been the most exciting collegiate runner of the modern era, who could explode upfield in an act of pure combustion. Every yard, an act of headlong devotion. That devotion, Levi, helped earn the NCAA billions of dollars in TV deals, giving the public appetite to watch super talented college athletes compete. But the NCAA rewarded Reggie's devotion with costly insults, first stripping away his collegiate records and his Heisman Trophy on the basis of a flawed investigation, and then defaming him with a patently false statements that further discredited his good name. The NCAA has ignored and rejected every opportunity to make this right. Even after a district court criticized the NCAA's unprofessional conduct and ruled that the NCAA's investigation report was false in several ways. Even the California Appellate Court chastised the NCAA for relying on a record so reckless, so recklessly construed, and found the testimony of the main witness against Reggie to be unclear, unreliable, speculative, vague, and so unresponsive that they would have been stricken from the record if made in the court. Even after the United States Supreme Court ruled the NCAA cannot enforce limits on education-related benefits that colleges and universities offer to students who play Division I sports. And I'll let the sirens pass because this is important. Even after the Supreme Court ruled against the NCAA that they cannot enforce limits on educational related benefits that colleges and universities offer to students who play Division I sports. In other words, the NCAA cannot continue this plantation mentality and continue to treat amateur athletes as indentured servants, profiting off their likeness and their performances and sharing none of the bounty. Even after changing its own rules to allow the kind of behavior the NCAA accused Reggie Bush of, even then, the NCAA did nothing to vacate the sanctions against him. No, the NCAA even went further and made public statements recently that were picked up by media outlets far and wide, falsely stating that he engaged in pay-for-play violations and that they would never reverse their decision. In fact, this was never asserted in the NCAA investigation. As Levi said, we're going to make it available for you all. You study that investigation and you see if you agree with every court that has looked at their so-called investigation. Let me say categorically that Reggie Bush did not accept any kind of pay for play for USC. The truth is, Reggie Bush played for USC out of devotion. Devotion that earned him many collegiate records and awards, including the Heisman Trophy, the highest honor bestowed on a college football player. And it was his devotion that helped earn his teams, where he played right here on this field, multiple national championships. And it was Reggie's devotion and the other players in college football that earned the NCAA billions of dollars in TV deals and revenue. As Levi said, the hypocrisy. Reggie Bush and college athletes here getting a $1,000 stipend per month. The NCAA and everybody else getting billions of dollars on the backs of these young men and women. At some point, the NCAA has to acknowledge that they're just wrong. And that's what they're not willing to do. It's time to hold the NCAA to account for its horrific maltreatment of Reggie Bush, besides properly compensating him for defaming his character as recently as a couple of weeks ago. It's time for the NCAA to publicly apologize and vacate the sanctions so he can recover his well-deserved, well-earned Heisman Trophy and all of his other collegiate records and titles, and USC have their wins restored, so Reggie can assume his rightful celebrated place in college football history. It's time. It's time. And as Levi said, you're going to hear from the man himself, Mr. Reggie Bush, who is we all know, a great athlete, but he's an even better human being. Anybody who knows him knows the upstanding person, the quality, the character within Reggie Bush. He needs no introduction. He is a philanthropist, a respected sports analyst, and as Levi said, one of the most electrifying and celebrated football players of all time. I know I'm preaching to the choir to recap an extraordinary career. He led the USC Trojans to consecutive national championships along with his teammates in 2004 and 2005. He got, I think, every award imaginable during his college career. That's how unique and special and gifted he was as an athlete. In his 10 years in the NFL, he scored over 55 touchdowns and was recognized as a first-team All-Pro and won a Super Bowl ring with the New Orleans Saints in 2010. But none of those records define the character of this young man. He is character personified. And that's why this is such a slap in the face all these years, how the NCAA has tried to characterize him. We give you Mr. Reggie Bush.
How you guys doing? Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate everybody being here and helping us get this message out. I got dreams of coming back in the stadium and running out of that tunnel with the football team. I got dreams of walking back in here, seeing my jersey, my banner, right down there next to the rest of the Heisman Trophy winners. But I can't rightfully do that without my Heisman Trophy. And every day we worked our butts off, grinded, I showed up to work, put my helmet on. Everything that was asked of me, I did it. Every time that number 5 was called on, I delivered. And I kept delivering. And it's unfortunate that that hard work that was put in, that was built not only by me, coaches, teammates, we all helped build this thing here. It's unfortunate that it was all torn down so easily, with no factual evidence behind any of these claims. And so most recently, the NCAA has made a statement about me, accusing me of engaging in a pay-for-play arrangement, which is 100% not true. Not only is it not true, but there's no evidence to even support that claim. And as they said before, it wasn't even part of the initial NCAA investigation. So this is a new accusation as far as I'm concerned. That was picked up by all of you, all the media outlets picked it up as if this were the reason why I'm not getting my Heisman Trophy back and why I'm not being reinstated. And that's not true. And that's what this lawsuit is about. It's about truth, getting the facts out, and holding the NCAA accountable, which is, I think, the first time maybe that, at least in my memory, that this is happening, of someone holding them accountable for their actions and for the things that they've done, with regards to me and other players as well. And so, thank you for hearing us out as we get this message out. I think it's so important. I think this is an important time in history, where we are, the location of it, everything. And every time I think back about my time here at USC, I think about the fans on that football field, running up and down that field, scoring touchdowns. I felt like the run that sealed the deal was right here in this stadium, the cutback against Fresno State. That's all a product of hard work, dedication, devotion, passion. You can't just show up and play like that. That takes a cohesive effort of a lot of people. And that's what USC is about, honestly. That's why I came here. That's why I decided to come to USC, because I saw something in this university that was gonna help me to get to where I wanted to go in life. That this was gonna be an avenue for me and for people that came after me. And I think that so many college football players, especially USC athletes, have really been robbed of that opportunity to be able, for me at least, to be able to get to know a lot of these college football players. Because for some reason I've been banned from this university for just showing up, putting in the hard work, and then allowing the success to speak for itself. So thank you guys, I appreciate it. That's all I got.
And Reggie, you were even asked to come back and lead the team out, and you said you could.
Yeah. So I've been asked multiple times to come out and lead the team out of the tunnel, which I 100% want to do. I can't wait to do it, but I can't do it without my Heisman Trophy and without that banner in that end zone.
Question.
We're going to take the Q&A. We'll hold it, but Reggie's probably not going to answer the
water real
question.
quick.
So Ben and I will. Let me say one more thing. We want to thank USC. Reggie's first attempt at this was thwarted because there was a technicality in that the sanctions technically are not against Reggie, they're against USC. And USC has supported us, as you'll see in the filing, in the petition for reconsideration, so we've overcome that. So we want to thank them for that. We would ask them to do more, but we thank them for that.
Ted Chen, NBC4. What would you say to critics who say that the free rent and car given to the family were paid for play? And if it wasn't, how would you characterize those things?
First of all, the rent or whatever you're saying about a house, that was never part of the NCAA report. That was not even in there. My parents were never even interviewed by the NCAA.
Look at the investigation for yourself. I mean, we're going to make it available to you, and you will understand why every court who has looked at this said this was the most flawed investigation, that they would not have even allowed this testimony to be before the court.
Reggie, Crystal Rich, KTLA, when NIL deals first became legal in a sense, and you realized that the NCAA would not restore your record or your trophy, what were those initial feelings kind of like?
Felt horrible. I mean, when the NIL came back out, and when the NIL came out, and I thought that I'll be able to at least get my Heisman Trophy back, and at least have those things restored to me. That was a horrible feeling. And it's something that still sticks out in my mind.
Reggie,
Reggie's done taking questions.
Okay.
We're happy to answer.
all right. As somebody who was here at USC at the time, thank you for the joy you brought so many of us. And I remember seeing your number up there and how much joy that brought us. And now it's not there, but it also looks like there's a hole right there. They've changed things. Are we going to see your jersey up there soon? Is there talk about having your jersey up there?
Absolutely, we expect that jersey to be up there soon. As you know, USC has the power to put it up at the game on Saturday, if they want to, I believe. So we would absolutely expect it. As far as a promise, no one has given us a promise of anything we're asking for this lawsuit. That's why we've had to move everything forward.
And that's one of the reasons why this lawsuit is so important for so many reasons, a myriad of reasons. This lawsuit is important, but it's what Reggie said himself. It's about truth and setting the record straight. And so when we do that, hopefully, not only do you see that banner, but you see Reggie Bush leading the Trojans out with his Heisman Trophy.
I mean, would you accept that even if you don't get the Heisman back? Because USC can't control that.
Reggie's not going to answer.
Yeah.
Levi, heat number 3 on JNX News Radio. You mentioned lawsuits that have been filed. The only problem is lawsuits take a heck of a long time to process. Is there a time certain for when this action is actually going to go to court? How long do you anticipate the trial happening, and where there is a final resolution as far as you and as far as Reggie is concerned?
We do not have a time certain on the lawsuit. It was filed this morning, so we'll get a scheduling order. I'll share that. The petition for reconsideration of these infractions is going before the Infractions Committee. Committee on Infractions is what they call it, COI, the NCAA. I am hopeful when they meet and discuss this, and they've kind of talked a little about having a time frame within the next 6 months. I'd like to see it done before the end of the football season. They could reverse the penalties, and I think that would correct that part of it.
Do you think, given the lawsuit, do you think that is going to nudge, if you would, the NCAA to say, look, we've already got enough bad publicity as it is.
Well,
why lose in court on top of it?
A couple of things. I started my comments off with the press conference saying how long. That was directed to the NCAA. It's to them. Yeah, America can hear us, but it's really to them. How long? They have the authority tomorrow to restore his NCAA titles, his records, and allow for his Heisman to be returned to him. But, you know, sometimes it's hard for people to admit when they are wrong. You know, they start to dig in their heels. They double down. They are defiant. One court after another tells them, you know, you're wrong. Many people in the court of public opinion believe you got to divorce yourself, NCAA, from this slave mentality, this plantation mentality once and for all. But change doesn't come easy. And it's going to be the court of public opinion and the court of law that hopefully, finally, ushers in the change of making the NCAA be the reputable association that they were initiated to be. They were supposed to be, as Levi and I discussed, an association that helped college students and college athletes. But you wouldn't find many college athletes who would say that the NCAA has been very helpful to them. Am I right about that, Reggie?
Right. Yes.
So it's up to the NCAA.
Real quick, this might be a question only Reggie can answer. You know, you're talking about them reversing this decision. Obviously, you're out here with attorneys today. How many attempts did you try to settle this without going to attorneys? How many behind-the-scenes conversations did you have before arriving to this step?
We're not going to talk about that. We try to keep behind the scenes is behind the scenes. We'll just say we're obviously here today for a reason.
If that is the case, what makes you think, or what makes you hope that the NCAA will change their mind after all these years of saying no, no, no?
We're both going to answer. because I think the people watching this at home and the people that see this press conference are going to realize how wrong this is. The NCAA doesn't want to go against all popular opinion. If we took a poll, 99 people out of 100 want Reggie to have his Heisman back. There's yellow billboards that Reggie never asked for that have been all over LA. Give Reggie Bush his Heisman back. And so I'm hopeful that the NCAA will bow to public opinion and do the right thing. They obviously never bowed in the Austin case. They are the ones that appealed that. They've already gotten really what they wanted, and they appealed it to the Supreme Court, where if you read it, the Supreme Court justice has to go out of his way to go, my gosh, what are you guys doing? This is crazy. You have a monopoly. You are absolutely exploiting these young men, many of them from disadvantaged backgrounds, to make millions of dollars, and you're trying to justify it in the name of amateurism? While your coaches make tens of millions of dollars, and while you put all this money in your pocket to your administrators, it's absolutely ridiculous. So here's what I think. Times have changed. Ben can speak to that more than anybody, and times still need to change, and it's time for it to change.
Can you
Yeah,
clarify?
and I'll say this last comment, and I think we're about to go. You know, the NC2A, and I like how you announced that because I've heard it say what those A's stand for. The NCAA hopefully would do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, even though they haven't done it in the past. This is an opportunity to do the right thing, and nobody would criticize them for finally doing the right thing. Nobody would be offended if they did the right thing. What I have learned in life, not just as a lawyer, but in life, when good people come together and say we're going to demand change, we're going to demand that you operate in a fair manner, you operate with due process, you operate with justice as a forethought, then change happens because the people start to demand it. Congress can get involved and look at how the NCAA operates nationally with these colleges. But this is easy. It could all be so easy, but they choose to make it complicated. And so Reggie Bush will get his Heisman back.
To be clear, though, are you saying that no rules were broken, or that the rules broken were illegal and unfair?
Thank
Read
y'all
the
very much.
investigation.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
y'all so much.